Hi everyone, and welcome to my next video for Bayonetta on the Xbox 360. This is Chapter 6, The Gates of Paradise. This video is a little longer than the other ones. This one's about 12 minutes, but it is one of the longest chapters in the game so far. It has a good number of environments, plus a large chunk of story sequences. This area right here is one of the first ones where you have to use your Beast Within mode, where you can turn into the Panther or whatever it is. And so here you try to activate that statue and you have to fight these two dragons. So once you do, and I skipped ahead here to just show the counter and climax combos. These are always very satisfying to watch. Great animation, very bloody, very visceral. She goes into her little stance here, takes care of him, and it looks like doesn't even look like the same bird from before. I think these change every so often. So you rip the head off. And I don't know what triggered that platinum trophy. I'll have to see what the requirement was for that one. I've gotten platinum and pure platinums at various points in this game, but maybe you have to get a certain number of them in order to unlock it. And so here, once you activate that, you'll be able to walk on water, and you don't have to use your Beast Within mode. You can just go ahead and jump up there. The next section has these spikes that are coming out of the ground, and I didn't realize that I had to turn this off first in order to activate not just this encounter, but once you defeat these enemies, you'll be able to press the switches on the ground in your beast mode. So just showing a couple combat bits here, and then moving on. Feels good, doesn't it? So another one, I think this one has to do with how many times you do torture moves, or activate the torture moves. And so you're following the little girl, and her name's Cereza. And for those who have already played, or like people like me who played the Bayonetta 2 demo before playing this, Jean in the Bayonetta 2 demo calls you Cereza. So I think that's a pretty big spoiler for people who haven't played Bayonetta 1 yet. But the way I see it, story spoilers in video games, unless you're talking the big one in Final Fantasy VII or something like that, it's not that big a deal to me anyway. I'm not too picky about spoilers. My wife told me what the ending was for The Sixth Sense before I even saw it, but I still managed to enjoy that movie quite a bit. And I think that's true for a lot of movies or games, is that if the rest of it's really good and, the story is executed well throughout, then you can still enjoy it, even if you might know certain big story points that happen. I mean, you think about the big reveal in Empire Strikes Back. I knew that one before I saw the movie when I was a kid, but that did not stop me from enjoying that movie. And that scene still gives me chills. The Vader and Luke scene in Cloud City. So that is, I think, that speaks to the strength of good writing and good storytelling. So we'll see where they go with that in this. And that's the part of this game that I'm starting to enjoy a lot, is the story, and they bring the little girl into it, and she's really well animated. She's really cute, and so I like her and the relationship that they develop. Her and Bayonetta. Bayonetta, doesn't really want anything to do with her, but the interactions are still funny, and so I like that a lot. So yeah, here is where she kind of sticks to you, and this leads up to the, I guess you could call it the escort mission in Bayonetta. Now, I'm not a big fan of escort missions in games, and I think the worst one in recent memory was in The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. That one just kind of came out of nowhere, and it felt really artificial and just, to me, felt like a way to extend the length of the game. And it's not something you had to do anywhere else in the game, but you had to do it kind of close to the end, and it sort of killed the pacing for me. I really like Skyward Sword. I know that it's not the most popular one in the series just because of the amount of hand-holding and the lack of a traditional overworld. But I loved it. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought the dungeons were really well done. And I am definitely looking forward to the Wii U Zelda. That one just kind of, I think, blew everyone's mind at E3. So I hope that the final product lives up to the expectations that Nintendo has created with that one. And so as you saw, you had to run down a hall towards the camera, and it wasn't very clear what I needed to do. I just assumed I had to pick up those garbage bins and throw them at the giant coming at you. But that seemed to work, and you knock through some gates, and you go into this outside area. Now, this is interesting in that this actually kind of bothered me just a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan or proponent of violence in front of children. And so this one, and I know it's just CG and it's a video game, but it's, there's a lot of gunplay and violence, and if you've ever fired a gun, you know that if she fired those guns near Ceresa's ears, she'd be deaf. But it's like in movies where people are firing guns from inside their car with no ear protection. So I guess you just have to suspend that part of your brain and just go with it. So anyway, after you fight those two dog-like creatures again, you have to fight him. And this is different. He picks Ceresa up, and you think something bad's going to happen, and she's crying. But I almost thought those were hearts, but I don't know what those were in his eyes. But he's fascinated, and he likes her. That's the way I'm reading this anyway. And so, in a way, I think he wants to save her from you. So he digs this gigantic battle axe out of the ground. So you fight him, and once you defeat him and do your final climax move again, this to me was a little bit sad. So he's getting wrecked, and you catch Ceresa and you do your combo, and just before he's about to die, he reaches out towards her. But then, bloody mess. So, yeah, I think that adds something to those various angels that you're fighting. They're not just these mindless, quote-unquote, enemies, but there is some personality and backstory there that makes Bayonetta's choices and things she does brought into question. Something that I struggled with a little bit, or actually a lot, in Shadow of the Colossus, where the things you're doing, there is a good reason why you're doing them, but at the same time, it's kind of sad. And so that game, for those reasons, was extremely memorable to me. Not just on a technical level, but from a story level and the way it challenged me as a gamer. Now, this right here is kind of silly at times. You're facing against yourself, or you are facing yourself, and then she does this and turns into this other angel, or the Seraphim, Joy, and pretty overt sexual overtones right here. So it's funny. I was just like, whoa, that's kind of interesting. But she was really fun to fight. Fighting yourself and then fighting these. I like the ones that have really nice acrobatic animations, and they move really quickly and smoothly. So it made it a real joy to play. And here is where you'll see another torture animation. kind of whips her, pulls her back. And that one's pretty brutal. Just strangled her. Grab your halos. Get a record piece. And then move on. And this will take you to the last story section of the game. You'll go back to the normal world, I guess. And you run back into Luca. You guys have a humorous exchange at the beginning here. So yeah, this game, at times, I tell myself, okay, it's just a video game, and you shouldn't be taking this stuff too seriously. But there are some there is subject matter in here that you have to ask yourself: is this appropriate to have in a game, even though it's rated mature? At what point do you go over the line? I don't think they've really gone over the line in this game yet, but I could see how this could be offensive to a lot of players. And I am curious to see whether they toned it down at all in the second game. This was created as a brand new IP, back when it was released in 2010. But there's been 4 years since then, and now Nintendo's publishing it, and Nintendo has a bit of a reputation, for making or publishing games that are more family friendly. And so Bayonetta 2 is in my opinion, a pretty big risk, and I commend them on one hand, and then on the other, I wonder, what's changed and how will it be different. So it comes out today, so I'm looking forward to finally playing it. Anyway, thanks for checking this out, and see you in the next video.